Hey y'all, it's Adrienne here and welcome to your HighSet Algebra course. This is lesson A11, Basic Algebra Vocabulary. Does algebra give you anxiety? If so, that's completely normal and it's okay. These series of videos are designed to help algebra make sense to you, and you can always pause the video, rewatch a section that you need to see, get help from a peer, and of course get help from your instructor to help these concepts make sense. Today's lesson's goal is to identify variables, coefficients, constants, and terms in an algebraic expression. If you take a look at this expression right here, I want you to think about what stands out to you. If you haven't done algebra for a while, I'm guessing that probably the x stands out because it's a letter in a mathematical expression. And what that x is a variable. A variable is just any letter that you see in an algebra setting. Doesn't have to be x, right? So here we have a, 3a plus 4, that a is a variable. Go ahead and pause this video and see if you can spot the variable in this expression. If you guess g is the variable, you're right. All right, let's move on to coefficients. A coefficient is a number that is used to multiply a variable. What do I mean by that? In this case, we have the number 2 in front of x, and what that means is that x is being multiplied by 2 so that we have 2 x's. So if you see 2x, that just means that there's not just one x, there's 2 of them. In this case, we have negative 3x plus 2, and you'll notice, okay, there's a negative in this expression. When you're asked to name the coefficient, you want to include the negative in your answer, so make sure you scoop the sign with the number. So in this case, the coefficient is negative 3, and what that means is that you have 3 negative x values. All right, now I'd like you to try finding the coefficient in this expression, and you can go ahead and pause the video again. If you guess that the coefficient is 2, you are right. There are 2 a's in this situation. Next, on to constants. A constant is just a number on its own. So in this case, we have negative 5. We're always going to scoop the sign in front of a number. So that's why the constant here is negative 5 and not just 5. In this case, we have a number on its own, and it's a positive 6. So my answer for the constant in this expression is 6. I don't actually have to say plus 6 because just saying 6 on its own lets us know that it's positive. Now I'd like you to try on your own. So try finding the constant in this expression, and don't forget to scoop. Right, so the constant in this expression is negative 4. If you were good at scooping, you knew that the negative should be along for the ride in your answer. And now let's put it all together. So far we've talked about variables, coefficients, and constants, and I want to make sure that you're able to look at an entire expression and name every part. So first up, we have the coefficient. How do I know it's a coefficient? Because it's attached to a variable, which is y in this case. Y is the variable. And then our constant is negative 6, because I want to be careful to always scoop the sign. So now try it on your own. We have negative 5a plus 9. Go ahead, pause the video, and see if you can name the coefficient, the variable, and the constant in this expression. So our coefficient is negative 5, the variable is a, and the constant is 9. All right, on to terms. So terms is the last vocabulary word that I want to teach you today. The expression here is 8x minus 5, and a term can be a single number, a single variable, or a coefficient and variable together in this expression. And of course, we're always going to remember to scoop the signs that show up as we move through this expression. Okay, 8x is one term in this expression because it falls under the category of a coefficient and a variable together. And -5 is also a term in this expression because it's a single number. And that's how, even though these two things look pretty different, they're both terms because they fall into different categories. In this example, we have x plus 1. X is a term because it's a single variable, and 1 is a term because it's a single number. We don't have any part of this expression that's a coefficient and variable together. We had a coefficient and variable together in this previous example, but we don't have it here, and that's okay because terms can be a few different things. Here's a longer expression where we actually have different kinds of variables. Thinking back to what qualifies as a term, again, it can be a variable on its own, a number on its own, or a coefficient with a variable. 8x is a coefficient with a variable, so that's one term. 2y is a coefficient with a variable, so that's another term. And -3 is also a term because it's a number on its own. Now I'd like you to take a look at this expression and practice naming all of the terms. Remember that a term can be a variable on its own, a number on its own, or a coefficient with a variable. And don't forget to scoop the sign that you see in this expression. All right, our first term here is 3x because it's a coefficient with a variable. Our second term is -4y. That's a term because it's another coefficient with a variable. And we got to scoop the negative that falls before 4y. And then our last term is -5 because that's a number on its own. And again, that can also be a type of term. All right, so we've covered all the vocabulary that we set out to this lesson. I hope that you feel a little bit more comfortable navigating an algebra expression, and great work today.